The Sd.kfz.251 half-track vehicle was an important armored vehicle for Germany during World War II, with a total production of up to 16,000 vehicles, and it was involved in almost all major German military operations during the war. In addition to the basic armored personnel carrier type, it also had a variant of the assault gun, with the same function as the early models of the Sturmgeschütz III. Based on the combat experience in the early stages of World War II, Germany began equipping the infantry support Sturmgeschütz III in 1940. This armored weapon that could accompany the infantry in combat was highly favored by the soldiers and provided great confidence to the combat troops. In intense combat, the commander of the Sturmgeschütz III even needed to establish communication with the infantry unit's junior commanders to inform them that the assault gun's withdrawal from the combat zone was only to resupply ammunition. Although the Sturmgeschütz III was very effective, the production of assault guns based on the chassis of the Panzer III was not high. At least in relation to the large German army, this equipment quantity was insufficient to meet the needs of all units. In addition to the temporary construction of similar functional assault guns using the chassis of the Panzer IV during the war, Germany also produced a certain number of assault guns using the Sd.kfz.251 half-track vehicle. The structure of the Sd.kfz.251/9 half-track assault gun was very simple, with a 75mm gun installed above the original open-top crew compartment, the same type of gun as the early model of the Sturmgeschütz III. The gun had a limited firing angle in the front, with a rectangular gun shield installed, and the vehicle carried 52 rounds of ammunition, as well as 2 self-defense machine guns, with varying specific models, either the MG-34 or the MG-42. The crew consisted of 3 people and retained the capability to carry infantry. Unlike the fully armored Sturmgeschütz III, the Sd.kfz.251 and 9 assault gun only had firepower and mobility to compare to, as its armored protection was a major weakness. The Sd.kfz.251/9 assault gun inherited the thin armor of the original half-track vehicle, with an armor thickness of only 7 to 12 mm, able to defend against light weapons and shell fragments. However, after being converted into an assault gun, it needed to take on the risk of using grenades to clear obstacles for the infantry in intense combat. Furthermore, its large frontal profile made it a very obvious target, vulnerable to any type of anti-tank gun in the enemy's hands. Even an ordinary anti-tank gun could pose a great threat. Therefore, the Sd.kfz.251/9 assault gun had to rely on its mobility to evade enemy counterattacks, and even so, its casualty rate remained very high. On the battlefield, due to the lack of anti-tank weapons in the German army, the original infantry support Sturmgeschütz III was used to install long-barreled guns, serving as tank destroyers, while the Sd.kfz.251/9 assault gun replaced it as an important armored weapon for supporting infantry. Fortunately, in the later stages of World War II, the German army focused on defense, and many times these Sd.kfz.251/9 assault guns did not have to be involved in dangerous large-scale offensive battles. Instead they waited patiently on the defensive line. The 75mm howitzer still proved to be highly effective against personnel. Facing the late stages of World War II, the Allied forces had already come to their senses from the confusion of the early war, with battle-hardened veterans filling the ranks of the infantry units, and machine gun strafing and artillery bombardment no longer easily frightened them. In addition, the Allies had developed an effective combat mechanism, making the combat between German and Allied soldiers even more difficult. In this situation, the Sd.kfz.251/9 assault gun was unable to play a significant role, and what the German army truly needed was a sufficient number of heavily armored weapons. However, all of this was impossible for Germany in the war, and the Sd.kfz.251 and 9 half-track assault gun was simply a makeshift solution for the German army, a desperate choice to sustain the war.